Spaghetti, and I'm back with another review. And today I'm going to take a look at the Transformers Revenge of the Fallen Voyager class Mixmaster. This was a part of the third wave of Voyager class figures, I believe. So it was released in about summer of 2009. One of the last Constructicons to be released, the last being Long Haul. And I think he's my favorite out of the four released for the movie. I have all four of them now. Originally, I only had Long Haul and Rampage. I got those when the movie came out 10 years ago, but this past November and then in January, I got Mixmaster and Demolisher. And Mixmaster is a figure that I really wanted as a child, well, as a small child. And I just love the look of him. I thought that being a cement truck, I thought the shape of it was just really cool. The colors were awesome. I just really loved everything about it. And he had 3 modes. And it wasn't something lame like Rampage's triple changing feature with the jackhammer mode and robot mode. It's really just squeezing the legs together. But this turned into a tank as well, and I just thought it was really awesome. Just everything about him. I didn't really have a lot of Voyager class figures early on into my collection. They were just considered expensive toys at the time, and I can get that. But yeah, he has a nice silver drum. It's gotta be like, I love the cab section of it. I think the shape's really nice, and the gray and the purple is awesome, and the drum is also awesome because it's got these again gray colors and then silver in there. I have a little bit of a scratch here on this part of the drum, and then these awesome Decepticon logos. A lot of people don't really like them. They're like, oh, it kind of ruins the look. And compared to like something like the RPM, yeah, I think it would look better without the Decepticon symbols, but I think it's awesome either way. It's got tons of molded detail in here, such as the ladder, and then, you know, cement pouring little slides here, and you can they move all around. It's on ball joints and all this. It's really awesome, and I love this figure to death. It's probably one of my favorite Transformers, definitely in the top 5, if not my most favorite Transformer. For some size comparisons, here he is with the Legends class Mixmaster, which was really my only Mixmaster that I had in addition to the RPM vehicle. So you can see, yeah, they don't have Decepticon logos on the drums at all. And then finally, of course, is the Combiner Wars Mixmaster. So there's how they scale together. He's on the larger side of all my Mixmasters that I have. I need to get myself a G1. Mixmaster's always been like one of my favorite Transformers because I just love the look of them. So to transform, what you're gonna do he's kind of a complex figure. People call him, he's considered to be one of the most complex Transformers ever created, in addition to stuff like RID Sideburn and Revenge of the Fallen Optimus Prime, Alternators Grimlock. All those guys are some of the most notable, hardest Transformers to transform. So what you're going to do first is you're kind of going to get these sections out of the way here. You kind of just break them up into a few pieces, a few large pieces, and then work on those each. So what I like, so he's kind of 2 pieces here. So you've got the cab section and then you've got the drum section. So let's work on the drum section first. So what you're going to do is push this down and slide in the ladder and then fold up the slide. You can kind of put it wherever you want. I like it right there most of the time. Then once you've done that, you're going to split the drum section here, and it's attached to these wheels. The drum section, the drum tabs into itself on both sides. So you've got pegs here and holes here, and then the wheel section clips into these pegs here. You're going to take his cannon and pull it out, kind of just spread it out. Now here's where things get a little complicated. You're going to pop up these roof sections, there's 2 of them, and then you're kind of going to come in here and separate this dark gray section from the light gray section. So kind of just pop it up, and out, and then you kind of reveal Mixmaster's legs and torso. This could be considered a shell former, but it makes good use of the shell pieces, and it doesn't look ugly. For example, like the Last Night crosshairs, where there's just random car parts hanging out, like parts that don't make sense. But luckily, this is an old Revenge of the Fallen design, so there are a lot of car parts still on here. So as you just saw, you're just gonna pull these leg sections down, and then you can see his head. Kind of bring the legs down, and then push the torso section forward, and then unpeg the spine section here that folds everything up. You're gonna pop it out from right here. So you're gonna split the legs, and then rotate everything around here. Pull out these gas cans, and then bring in the smokestacks. There's a few different ways. I'm not sure which one is closest to the movie design. I believe you're gonna have these gas cans right here. You're gonna have them facing up. I believe that's how it's in the movie. Then you're gonna kind of turn his legs in through here, and then bring them in like so. Kind of just fold it. And make sure that these wheel sections are on the inside. I've seen pictures and reviews where people have the wheels on the outside, and that's not what you want. You're gonna bring those gray sections underneath the toes, and then bring the toes down after you have those settled away. Now here's where things kind of get a little confusing. You're going to split the drums into two pieces, or the halves of the drum into two pieces. So you basically have quarters of a drum here. You're gonna pull this drum section around, and then on this little blue hinge right here, you're gonna swing it outwards and then rotate it around. And then pull out the hands and the thumb. Again, so. Let me get that fixed now. Now, like I said again, pull the drum piece out, bring that out, rotate it around, and then you can have everything right here. So now it's just a matter of putting Mixmaster together. This piece has a tab right here in his torso, but that's kind of used more for tank mode, and it makes his robot mode look a little more awkward. So you're gonna make sure that's unpegged. And then clip this square peg square peg hole into the square peg, and push it, make sure it pushes all the way together. Then fold the blue piece in, and then finally fold in that last piece right there. Then all you have to do last is make sure that this blue peg here on the inside of the drum cab is flipped out, and then it'll go into that peg right there. And that piece right there, it's a little floppy on mine. If it does happen to get unpegged, I'm not sure what to do. Yeah, oh, there we go. Alright, I think I have that right. So, just straighten out all of his little details. There you have Revenge of the Fallen Voyager class Mixmaster in his robot mode, and he looks really cool. He's a bit floppy with all of his arms are very cumbersome. He's got lots of little ball joints and joints. I think his arms each have, I believe, 13 points of articulation. We'll get into that later. Actually, we'll do it right now. So for his legs, they can go in and out. Ignore this cab piece. They can go in and out. Swivel at the upper thigh. Knee bend. He's got some foot articulation, and then he's got some toe articulation for the transformation. His ball is on his head is on a ball joint, and then you can extend that kind of like E.T., I guess, and then then he's able to do a complete 360 movement. He's got kind of shoulder swivels and then in and out at the shoulder. He has this bend right here. Which one is it? Yeah, it's this one. This one doesn't like to bend as well. And then he's got all these, his drum halves or quarters are on ball joints. He's got articulation right here, these kind of copper colored joints here. And he's got a swivel right there. He's got a swivel up here and then a swivel down here. And then he has finger articulation. So he is heavily articulated, in the arms especially. So there are a lot of options for posing and just whatever you want. Like for stop motion, he's probably, I'm sure he's a fun figure to animate, considering how much articulation he has. So yeah, I'll move him back here. Let me straighten him out because he's kind of hard to balance. Here he is more straightened out. So I'll get into comparisons right now. So for size comparisons, here we have the RPM figure, standing up of course, so you can see the robot. Here's the Legends figure. He's a little loose because I played with him a lot, since he's my only Mixmaster. And then here he is with the Combiner Wars figure. So while this might be a taller figure, I think the quality isn't as good on it, and it's kind of it's just a hollow figure. This is much more solid and substantial in comparison. And then finally, to the man who heroically mutilated him in the movie, here we have Revenge of the Fallen Jetfire. This is the movie The Best release. So if I can just get my tripod to show you. There they are together. So yeah, Jetfire is of course much more bigger. He's a leader class figure. Mixmaster is he's pretty short for a Voyager class. But yeah, he's much more wide and has a lot of plastic on him. This was considered a small Voyager back in the day, and wow. So I guess the only thing left to do is show off his tank mode configuration. So what you're going to do is just kind of pull him apart. I need to remember if I can do this. You're going to swivel his legs back around. And then bring this piece up, rotate this section around here so that the gas cans are on the bottom, because they will act as little stands for his body. That one is really loose. Okay, so then you're going to you're going to bring that piece back and then have the gun pointed forward, and then make sure everything's tabbed back into place. Kind of make sure his head's facing up, because his head should be visible while he's like this. Oh yeah, okay. So then you're going to make sure that his torso is pegged in all the way, and then push in that tab right here, and then this transformation is pretty confusing, so please bear with me as I attempt to do this. This is the Takara configuration, so just for reference, because the Takara transformation is different than the Hasbro configuration. Oh yes, okay. So then you're going to make sure that these smokestacks are put away, and then they're kind of just inside the cab. The cab should have, yes, okay. And then the cab's little blue peg right here will go into that slot. I don't do this very often, because I just think that this is kind of a very confusing matter. Swivel in these so that the wheels are like that. Kind of position the feet. Now I have to figure out where the... Okay, I think I remember where everything goes now. You're going to kind of bring up his arms like this, kind of swivel them back and then in. And then make sure that these parts right here, it's gonna kind of look like a flower. So the drum pieces are all kind of like the petals. And then this is going to be, whereas the Hasbro version kind of looks like it can roll, this one doesn't really roll and it's stationary, so he's more of a turret rather than a tank. I can just position him correctly. Then these little pegs right here are going to slot inside right there. So you're going to peg it in like so. I don't know if I've said like so a lot, but if I have, please excuse me. This mode is kind of a mess as I'm doing it before your eyes. Do I have a problem here with how I'm folding up the arms? Not sure. This mode is supposed to look a lot cooler. I can't say that I'm doing it any justice, to be honest with you. Oh, there. Do I have it? Do I have it right? I should almost be there. Okay. Let's call that a day. Alright, that's kind of where everything goes, but yeah, that was kind of sad to watch. So there's his tank mode. It's kind of interesting. He had this in the movie, but it was kind of more like he flipped forward and then a gun came out of his back, and that was it. So this is pretty complicated. When in the movie, this was a really... I mean, of course, the Transformers, they're fast in transforming, but this wasn't even really a transformation. He kind of just flipped forward, and then he balanced on his hands and stuff. So this is pretty crazy. You can see his head in there. And his missile does fire. You can come here, and then just press on the blue tab, and then... so yeah, the spring still works after 10 years. Whoop-de-doo. So I'll transform him back into robot mode for final thoughts. It's definitely much more easier getting him into robot mode from tank mode than it is from robot mode into tank mode. So, because in robot mode it makes sense where things go. And it's kind of more clear, and things aren't so convoluted. So you're just gonna press everything back together again. Everything like so. And there you go. There is Mixmaster back in his crazy, awesome robot mode. So for final thoughts on this figure, he's honestly one of the coolest figures from the Revenge of the Fallen line. He's just weird, he's crazy, he's fun, he's got lots of playability with the tank mode, a fun robot mode, and just a really stunning vehicle mode. I'm excited to see how Mixmaster's Voyager class figure for the Studio Series line will turn out. I don't know how they're gonna put together, you know, with his arms plus the Devastator mode. So I'm excited to see in the near future. Highly recommend this figure. If you don't have him in your collection, you know, this is one of the figures that, if you're gonna collect movie figures, you gotta have a Mixmaster. It's just one of them that you get. So, as always, don't believe the news, don't believe the hype, spaghetti out.